Welcome to the Pool Nation podcast, where it's all pool talk. And we ain't talking about netting and jetting or splashing and dashing. We're talking about becoming a nation of pool pros. We talk about the latest products, trends, and training in the pool industry. Now let's welcome your host, with over a decade of industry insider experience and still the reigning champion of Marco Polo, Edgar De Jesus, and his co-host, John JJ Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, and Zach the Pool Boy Nicholas.
Welcome, everyone, to the Pool Nation Live podcast. I am your host, Edgar De Jesus, and I am the reigning champion of Marco Polo, along with John J.J. Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, the famous Zach the Pool Boy Nicholas. And today we also have the Cannonball King, Mr. Spider. He's in the house.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on, brother?
Another day, another dollar.
Another day, another dollar. So today we're talking to Steve Barnes and Todd Pieri about their new game-changing PureStar Ozone System. And I am excited to talk about that. Want to welcome everyone to our live podcast, the podcast where it's all pool talk, and we ain't talking about netting and jetting and splashing and dashing. We're talking about becoming a nation of pool pros. And yes, we will talk about the latest products, trends, and training in the pool industry. But before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors for this podcast, the Ultimate Pool Tools, the SPPA, Blueray, AquaStar Pool Products, Natural Chemistry, Raypak, and Heritage Pool Supply. We want to thank them for their continued support. Mr. Zacharias, what's going on, brother? Good morning.
Morning. I think my body's still trying to digest all the food we've eaten in the last 24 hours. And I've been on this kick of I'm going to start dieting and get healthy. And I come up here and we ate so much food since yesterday morning that it's probably going to take me days to actually be hungry again. So that's what I got going on.
How many meals have you had?
How many meals have we had?
That burger was bigger than your head last night.
I know.
Look at John.
And
You know what? I thought we were all friends.
Look at John's face.
John, he had no problem with it.
Look, I thought we were all friends, right? We talk about the food. Food is my thing, okay?
This is in your
And
honor.
then I'm already upset that I wasn't able to be there this week. And all I get from you guys is a hello. And we ate so well, right? We've had steak. We've eaten big-ass burgers, Perry's, whiskey cake. All my favorite places, and I think Edgar purposely does that so that he can irritate me for not being able to make it this week. But at the end of the day, I deserve it. And I will make sure that next time I am in attendance because, God, I really enjoy hanging out and having a nice meal. I grew up that way. I love it. You work hard, you play hard, and you go home and you just eat a nice family meal. And it's very enjoyable when you sit down and do it with the people that you care about and your friends and family and loved ones. And I really wish I was there. Zach, stop complaining. Just be there.
By the way, John, I will tease you about a lot of things. I keep food out of it. I don't go there.
But have you noticed something, especially the last couple times, right? I haven't been able to make it out there. And it's always been John. When John comes out, I have to eat and I gain 15 pounds or this and that. But now that I'm not there, all of a sudden this tradition lives on. It's not me thing. Is it really an Edgar thing?
You created the monster because everybody online talks about, I want to eat with John. And oh my God. So now everybody comes out here and there's this big expectation that the tradition needs to live on.
All right.
And so I'm like
monster.
Zach. I've been like Zach. I've been trying to diet for the last 3 months and it just doesn't work because every other week you're out here. So anyway, so how you doing, John?
I'm doing well, man. It's hot. Very hot and humid out here right now. We're hitting the 120s. It's been a little brutal. We had a couple things going on that we had to take care of this week, which kept us here in California. But we've gotten through it and things are looking good. But every year I've been out here in the valley now for God knows how long, decades. And it's every summer. It's like it's the first time ever. And you just can't ever get used to it. And it takes a little while, but we're finally getting into it. We had a really mild beginning. But now it's like full force and we're getting pounded with the heat. But other than that, I'm looking good. It's funny. I tell Mama, watch me, okay? Pay attention and you will see that I will lose about 20 pounds during summer and I will slowly start to wither away. And then wintertime, I start building up my winter coat, right? It's just how it goes. And you're going to start seeing, wow, what's going on with John? No, he's just out there sweating his ass off. When you're out, I'm drinking like 2 gallons of water. And unfortunately, I still don't have to use the restroom after 2 gallons of water. That's how much you sweat out here. It's pretty crazy and gnarly. But that's what we get paid to do. And we only got about 8 more weeks or 9 more weeks of it, and we'll get through it.
Mr. Pieri, what's going on? Welcome back.
Thank you. It's great to be here. This is going to be a fun episode. We're excited about this.
Super excited. Mr. Barnes, what's going on? Good morning.
Living the dream, loving it. Couldn't have had more fun yesterday in Studio B. That was awesome.
I do have to tell you, John, you weren't here, but you should have seen. I set up the camera. I'm like, ready, set, go. And Steve just steamrolled all of us. Like, it was just... Todd, it was like he took the crown of one take Todd. It's now one take Steve. He just annihilated it till I had to go up and give him a high five.
I'm proud of you, Edgar, because you're being very humble about this. Steve, I got to tell you the truth that Edgar is a little insecure about your abilities when it comes down to like your videoing, your PowerPointing. I get phone calls from him literally at midnight or 12:30 in the morning. He's calling me, telling me, Steve just sent me over. We're talking, asking for the PowerPoint, and he just sent it over. And the thing's just, I don't know how he does it. It's perfect. It's beautiful. And how he goes into the takes and how he does this and how he does that. So usually Edgar gets a little self-conscious, but I'm very excited, or I'm very happy to see that you're being very humble about this, Edgar, and you're not.
You should have seen Edgar yesterday, and I think Todd has like a little bank of pictures.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. I can't believe you guys went there.
Edgar was leveling
Shots
up his
fired.
photography
Shots
skills.
fired, bro.
Oh, yeah,
You better delete that picture.
I didn't start this. I know
okay.
that.
Oh, you got.
I did
all
not
you
say
gotta
that.
send it.
He's like
I gotta
army
see it.
crawling around on the floor.
Seriously.
Pose.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, he showed me one picture, John, and I'm literally on my knees, and all you can see is he took a picture of my ass is what he did. It was just like, it was bad. I'm like, you better delete that, because that shows up in social media somewhere. I know where it came from.
That's why he's being so nice to Todd today.
Look, it was game time if you were down on your knee, because I know how screwed up your knee is, right? For you to have to get up and do that and to oh my God.
All for this product that we're going to talk about today, because it's pretty awesome. So I'll send them the bill.
Better product to talk about. That's for sure.
Yep. All right, so let's jump in here. Let's talk about a couple things, because we got to get a couple housekeeping notes before we get into today's podcast, which I'm excited about. And the first thing is that we're going to be having a boot camp out at the Pool Boys in Texas, in Houston, Texas. And that is going to be August
18th and 19th.
Nice. I'm prepping John for the next one. I want to say that 25th. We only have... I'm prepping John the 25th. And we're actually down to 8 spots, John. I don't think I told you that, but we're down to 8 spots on the boot camp. So we have 72 people already registered for the Pool Nation boot camp that's going to be held in Houston. We're super excited about it. We're going to do on Friday water chemistry with Terry Arco. John's going to do a borates class. We're going to be doing managing salt pools with Hayward. We're going to do understanding ozone with Steve Barnes. Water Chemistry 201 with Terry Arco. And then what we're super excited about is on the first boot camp, which is the complete hands-on training. We're going to be doing a variable speed pump class with AquaStar. Thank you guys for doing that. And then Hayward's going to be doing a automation class. And this is the one where everything is hands-on. They're going to teach you how to cut conduit, cut wires, splice, connect these pumps to different automations, Intermatic, just standalones, all these types of things, connect them, program them. I believe we're going to try to change some pump seals as well. I don't think our guest that's in the studio that we're going to talk about knew about that, but we just threw him under the bus on that. So first one for you. The other thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a women's summit that's going to be happening.
Well, okay, time out. If we can just go back to that. You said we have 8 spots left?
8. Yeah, we're at 72.
And that's unbelievable, dude. And talk about, it's pretty crazy to think. This isn't just people that are local to, this isn't all of Zach's employees that are taking up. Because we were like, oh my God, how many employees does Zach have? Can we get them filled up or make sure that's better? No, it's pretty neat that we have itineraries that are being sent to us, that are being messages, that are being posted, that are people that are taking the time out of their days away from work, away from their family, and flying out to Texas, to Houston, in order to take part in this. And to me, it's just really, I don't know, it gives me giddy inside to see how important this is to everybody, right? Having education and being able to have a place where people can go there and learn more about their trade so they can be better at what they do. Usually, if it's really convenient, we go out and we do it. But this is inconvenient for a lot of people to be able to come out and fly out and to do this on their own dime to play a part in this. And to see them go out there, and we only have 8 spots left out of 80, and we just literally announced it less than a month ago, is just pretty awesome. And I just want to thank everybody out there, people that are listening, people that have taken the time, believed in us, and believed in our instructors and the companies and our sponsors that are putting on these wonderful courses, because without them, it wouldn't be possible. Thank you so much for taking the time to come out there, and we look forward to meeting each and every one of you. And those that are still interested or on the fence, like Edgar said, we have a hard limit at 80. So those 8, please register as soon as possible so that we can have you attend. I just want to say thank you.
Absolutely. So we're super excited about that. We're super excited that you guys are partnering with us on that. And then the next thing that we have is the Women's Summit that's going to be on August 24th and August. Oh, jeez, man. August 24th and August 25th out in McKinney, Texas. It's going to be in the Heritage headquarters in McKinney, Texas. We're super excited. We could only host 102 women. We are completely full. That event is sold out. So we're super excited about that. We are going to be doing a couple different communication classes, some workshops, public speaking. There's going to be some Q&As. So we're super excited about that. On the night of the 24th, we're going to do a small little networking, hors d'oeuvres, couple drinks, getting to meet everybody from 6 to 8. And then on the 25th, we start early in the morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. We'll have a couple of different opening speakers. We'll have Alicia as the MC, which was here on Wednesday. I spent till 11:30 at night with Alicia, going through all the stuff. So super excited about that. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about before we jump into today's podcast is that for those of you that have been asking, we do have some more content that's coming to the Poolman University app. We have made some changes, and we are coming up with a huge update that's going to be out right before we go down to Houston. There's a couple of elements that we have been scrambling to work on and create based on the initial release of it, but we're getting a lot of people that are asking for a desktop version. That's starting to take off. But John, I haven't shared the numbers with you, which you always call me an ass, but we launched March 23rd. As of last night when I looked at it, all the training videos that we have on there have 86,000 views on that app. It's going absolutely crazy. There is 2 new things that we're going to be releasing for the app before the boot camp. Some things that are going to be cool. I don't want to talk about them yet. And then there is going to be the new module that we've talked about with regards to companies being able to use it to train their employees. So stay with us. I know that you want more content. We're editing, and I think we're just going to do it all in that big release. There's some classes that Steve did on ozone. We redid some of the filtration classes and stuff like that. So we're working on all that and getting that ready. So super excited. Stay tuned.
I want to ask you guys, you're coming down to Houston. We're doing the boot camp, the initial launch of it. And can you talk about a little bit more, Edgar briefed on it, but what exactly you're going to be teaching down there?
We'll be teaching the variable speed pump, so it'll be a little bit of classroom kind of a thing on what is it, the keys, what is the technology. Our focus and what we're trying to do is support brand new people. So if you have a company like you hire someone new. So it'll be from this is a pump all the way through how to hook it up, install it, as you mentioned, conduit, some hands-on things so that you know with confidence what this technology is all about. You can't do, even in a boot camp setting, in 2 hours. You're not going to come out of this as an expert, but you will know every element you need to execute the design or do this work so that when you're with somebody, a mentor hopefully, certainly if you go on to certifications and all that, you're going to have a giant head start because you're going to know when we say, okay, you're going to have to connect the power cords and the conduit. They'll have exposure of what that is. Also, incredibly important is the programming and how to really leverage this technology to take you and your business to a whole new level.
So we're super excited about that. I'm going to lead into the next point, John, and that is that there's something that I want to talk about before we get into this podcast, because Todd called me, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and he said, "Hey, Edgar, I want to talk to you. I just want to apologize." His exact words were, "I'm going to piss you off and you're going to be upset. I hope I don't ruin your 4th of July weekend. but you're going to be a little bit upset with me. And I'm like, just tell me what it is. And he's no. And I'm like, oh, I'm not going to lose sleep. But then I called John. And then I'm like, oh, sounds like you need to get over that with John.
He lost sleep.
That is not going to be good for you and John right there, because you know how John is. So I think we could spill the tea on it today, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay. We have somebody that we love talking to. We've had him on the podcast, on some Instagram lives. I think he connects really well with the pool pros. I think he's somebody special for the industry to help bridge a lot of the gaps between the pool pros, the products, their businesses. And so he was working for another company. Can I say what company he was working with? Everybody's going to know, right?
Yeah.
I'll just throw it out. I'll take the hit. So Brian Croissant was working for Hayward, and Brian, which was going to be doing the training for the boot camp. Look, he's doing Little Heart, right? So he was doing the boot camp for us for Hayward, and then all of a sudden I get a call from Todd, and he's just to let you know, now I'm going to piss you off because Brian's no longer going to be there. He's going to be working with AquaStar now. So, yeah. So I want to say that, yes, I was upset for a little while. I might have cussed a couple times, and you might have had a little bit of a headache because I kept cussing for a while. But I'm super excited. I'm really genuinely super excited that Brian has joined your team. I really believe that not only is he going to help you guys, but even with us and the education that we want to do and all those things, he's now going to be able to be a resource that we've wanted him to be for a long time. So to Brian Croissant, I'm taking out your right knee because of what you did to me. So I know you're out there. You better listen. You're not going to see it coming. You live in the same town that I live in. So I am going to do it where there's no cameras, and I'm taking out that right knee. So just to give you a heads up. So
Brian, don't worry about it. We have security at AquaStar.
So do you want to talk about that for a second?
Absolutely. We're crazy excited about bringing him on to the AquaStar family. He fits the mold so well. He's industry driven, just like everybody else that we bring on in this company. And he's filling a massive puzzle piece for where we're trying to get to. So he will be our national technical sales manager. So he'll work directly with Steve Barnes and then also Mandy Snow, who's our national sales director. Crazy excited about it. I've known Brian since 2006. When I was in distribution, he was actually a customer of mine, and I learned a lot from him back then, a lot.
Was he thin back then?
No.
No. Because John, he likes to eat just like you. So I'm looking forward to one of these dinner events, especially when AquaStar's picking up the bill.
So Brian's buff like me, right? Right?
Yeah, that's it, buff. Yeah.
I've watched him, he moved from California to Texas and then went to work, as you said, for Hayward. He's been there for 8 years, I believe. And yeah, now we're fortunate enough to get him over to the AquaStar family, and he's going to bring so much to the table for us relative to the technical support, the sales, and the innovation, because he is a forward thinker in our industry, and he's been hands-on in our industry for so long that he knows all the gotchas. And if you know anything about our company and listening to us over the years, we are about doing the right thing for the pool professional and building a quality product. And he's going to be very instrumental in what we're going to do moving forward on that.
Absolutely. Just to let you know on here, and I'll let you say that in just a second, online, we already have what? Wow. And then I think we need to start calling it the Big Four instead of the Big Three, which is pretty awesome. And then sad for Hayward, it's a loss for them, but a huge gain for AquaStar. I am very happy for Brian. So super, super excited about that.
It's really cool.
Yep.
Yeah, because I was on the call. So
That's right.
I had to drive. I was like, what? And he was reluctant to even tell me, you can't say anything to anyone. And then after he told me, I was just doing a happy dance for two reasons. One, Brian, what he brings to us and our customer support and his dedication to the industry he's so well known for. But also, it's a two-way channel from the science and what we're doing, because we're cutting new ground. We're doing stuff that hasn't been done before. And then now the challenge and what I'm trying to do is share that with the industry. He speaks this language. I try. He actually lives it. So he's going to help deliver it. And then he's going to the flip side of that coin is he's going to be able to help drive what do we need to support this stuff and where do we need to go next. So he's a huge home run for us. Welcome aboard, Brian.
So super excited to have him. What are your thoughts, John? Other than him doing what he did to us, like dirty, but what do you think?
I couldn't be happier for Brian and for AquaStar. You guys, it was a definite amazing catch that you guys were able to pick him up and recruit him and bring him on. I'm sure Hayward is feeling a little bit of a pain, having Brian leave. But the reality is this: I've had the pleasure to know Brian now for a little bit, and we've had multiple conversations. And I'd like to think that one thing, at least that I know that I have, is that I can have a conversation with somebody and I can figure somebody out pretty quickly. And if I were to say I'm good at anything, I'm pretty good at that. And even though I haven't had the experience as him being my personal rep, I know through conversations of other pool professionals that have worked with him and he's been his rep, that he has been a diamond in the industry. And he is truly somebody who looks out for the people that he serves. And the people that he serves are us, the pool professionals out in the field. And it's hard to find that sometimes. And I'm not saying that there aren't great reps out there. There's a lot of great reps out there, but we've all had experiences where sometimes we just don't have that connection or that human touch or that relationship where we feel like they got our back. And I've never heard one bad thing from Brian, and I've never had one bad experience with him. I think he's a very genuine and amazing person. I truly believe that if half the reps were half as good as him, we'd be on a whole nother level as an industry. And I wish that you carry on with what you're doing, Brian, and that you help take AquaStar to the next level, because we know what their mission and their values are and what they're driving to accomplish. And we see 100% eye to eye. And I think they are the forefront leading us in the right direction when it comes down to innovation and just understanding that we're a lot more than what we could be. We could be a lot more than what we are as an industry. And you joining that team will help propel them and get us closer. And maybe it'll help motivate other companies and other manufacturers to do the same as well. So congratulations from all of us at Pool Nation. I'm sure everybody's extremely happy. Some are going to be very sad that they don't have you through Hayward, but I know, knowing you, that you're still going to keep conversation. You'll help anybody out. And I remember conversation, whether it's a Jandy product or a Pentair product, or even back then, if it was an AquaStar product, it wasn't like, I'm a Hayward rep, I can't help you out with anything else. No, I'm here to help you. And I remember that conversation we had, and that really hit me. And I wish that others felt that same way, or at least practiced that same way. And congratulations, my friend. I know you can hear me and I can't hear you. And hopefully you're not flipping me off and you're giving me a thumbs up, and congratulations back, brother.
Absolutely.
Saying that, or somebody going to say something?
No. Go ahead.
Okay. So let's get down to the podcast here. We've been itching at this conversation or trying to talk about this product, but we haven't really been able to talk about it. We've been saying a little bit here and there, but we really haven't had an in-depth podcast on this, or really giving you guys the 411 on this new product, a new ozone system from AquaStar. I am personally very excited about this, because ever since we started talking about game changer with the pipeline and stuff, it's a term that's loosely thrown out there. But again, here we go again. It really is. And I think this one I'm very excited about, as excited, if not more excited than the filter, because this is the way of the future. And before we get into questions here, can you guys just talk and just let us know exactly what it is and a little bit about it before we get into the nitty-gritty of it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a corona discharge ozone system. We know how aggressive ozone is in our industry and how good it is for our swimming pools relative to cleaning and oxidizing water. We've been doing corona discharge ozone for a number of years now, over 10, and we do it for a new construction. We had a prominent builder challenge us to figure out a way to pump ozone into a skimmer. I'm like, okay, that's unique, but we'll give it a shot. And we did. And again, for new construction only, so you got to lay lines for conduit for ozone tubing, and you have to have a proper skimmer. And again, for over 10 years, this particular customer puts it on every pool he builds, and it's been an amazing product for him. About 8 years back, Greg Garrett started coming to us, because we're very involved with MPC. So Greg Garrett would come to me, and he'd come to Ulof, and whenever he'd see Steve, and he would say, hey, we got to make a retrofit ozone system, because this new construction one won't work for all these guys in the NPC that are doing remodels. So he put that on our radar. I remember sitting down on a flight one year, and we were going to some show, and Greg comes and sits down in the same aisle that I'm in, and we literally sit right next to each other. And we talked for about 2 hours of that flight about ozone and why he felt it was so important for their industry. And his big thing was there's no byproduct, right? There's no byproduct to O3. And that's very important for the pool finishes, and obviously very important for the players in the MPC. And after that conversation, I came back and we sat down in front of the owner, in front of the development team, the engineers, and we started talking about a retrofit ozone system. And like we do, we brought in the competitors and we talked to those that sold the product. We talked to those that serviced the product, that were the legacy products that were in the field. And we wanted to know all the downfalls of those products. Where are the gotchas and what can we improve on? The unit that's sitting right here in front of me now, this is the unit. We have no massive power supply. We don't have a big bypass that needs to be plumbed in. And those were some of the big issues that these guys had. And we've been able to condense a up to 1 gram an hour unit into this ball here where you plumb in on the return side. And it's definitely a game changer in our industry. It's another revolutionary product. When you say, John, that you're more excited or as excited about this as you are the filter, I think Steve will attest in many of our war room conversations because the PureStar, the pump, and the filter kind of all started right around the same time. Leave it to us to go tackle 3 major projects, right? All at the same time. But that's the owner. That's Ulaf. He's not scared. And he wants to go. And I was begging for this one to come first. I'm like, let's figure it out. Let's figure it out. But there were, from the hydraulics to the actual functionality of this thing and paring it down, there was a lot to go through and a lot to work through. And just like everything else, we're not going to bring it to the market until it's right. I think this could potentially be one of the biggest products that AquaStar ever makes. This is an amazing product.
That's a pretty big statement to say. After watching the success of that pipeline filter, because it was revolutionary and defied everything, right? It's a smaller footprint, the filtration and all that. And I'm super excited about that. I want to talk about that in a little bit. I know Zach wanted to ask something. Go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, so before we jump into the product specifically, let's talk about ozone and how it can benefit the pool and how it can benefit the Pool Pro and their maintenancing of the pool.
Ozone is an amazing thing. It's certainly not new. In society, it's new. It's maybe 180 years since it was discovered. It was first used in drinking water in France in 1906, so it's been used to purify drinking water. And everything I'm going to share, the science side of this, don't trust me, we did not invent or research this, but you can go look for 2 sources on the things I'm going to highlight here in case I misspeak. But you can go to the CDC on ozone use for swimming pools. But really you want to see how powerful this is, ozone, is look at the EPA for drinking water and wastewater treatment. And it attacks all of the yuck that we end up in our faucets and all of that. So at the main thing is ozone is oxygen with an extra oxygen. Oxygen is O2. It's 2 oxygen singlets. And then ozone is a third one. But it's a very unstable. And the way ozone is made is with electric discharge, corona discharge, lightning, if you will. And that lightning strike splits the oxygen into 2. And then those singlets need to attach to something, so they go join other O2s. That's why we call it O3. But it's really unstable, so unstable that even if you put it in a gallon of distilled water, so there's nothing, distilled water, there's no calcium, there's nothing in it, it's just H2O, it will only last 20 to 30 minutes. So it's very unstable, and when it breaks down, the byproduct is oxygen. That's why Greg Garrett in the plasters, it doesn't affect your chemistry because it's just oxygen. But because it's so unstable, it attacks bacteria, heavy metals, sweat, urine, all of these kinds of things instantly. And when you look at bacteria or a virus, the way it works is that third oxygen that's not happy, it wants to go attach to something else, and in the process, it destroys the virus, the shell, if you will. The way I picture it when I read this stuff is if you picture you have a grape, the ozone pops it. And now it's just this gooey mess, which is why ozone also makes amazingly clear water, because during that process, it makes everything sticky and stick together. This is all real science terms I'm using here. So this is why I say go to the EPA, and if you want to see the formulas and how this all works, talk to Terry Arco. But that's what is so amazing about it. And the key for the residential market is that it works so fast. It's, for example, and I was just boning up again last night and this morning on it. So it's somewhere between 60 times faster to 120 times faster than chlorine. So if you have 1 part per million of chlorine, 1 part per million of ozone, the ozone's going to take out the chloramine or whatever 60 to 100 times faster. So what that means is, even though we're using very low dose in this product and in this environment, is it's so fast it does the job for chlorine. It also destroys and prevents chloramines from building up in the first place. So it breaks up that combination. That means your free chlorine is free to do what it is. So it simplifies. So these things come together to add up for really bottled water quality, and that's the big thing with ozone.
Todd, you talked about, and you said it while you were talking, and said, we all know how great ozone is. And I think as manufacturers maybe, or people that have studied this or understand it, yeah, ozone is like the ultimate to have in your pool. Ozone, AOP, right? UV. We talk about all the newer technology, or we think newer when it's really not newer. It's been around for a very long time. But what the problem is, even though we've known it so great, it's our inability to be able to implement it in a residential environment effectively. Because in order to do it, it's one, complicated originally, and it's very expensive. And most importantly, people are very uneducated or intimidated on how to maintain it because it's something that they've just not used to. And what you guys came up with, and why I'm so excited about this system, is you take almost all the guesswork out of it and you make it probably one of the easiest things to install on a pad, and give somebody or give that company or that pool technician the ability to offer amazing, clean and clear and safe water for a fraction of the cost that it used to cost years ago in order to achieve that same result, is what's just mind-blowing how you guys did it. And I don't understand, again, because it's way above my pay grade. I don't get it, but it falls into the filter thing where we've had those around for decades, and I got it. And sometimes if it's not broke, don't fix it. And why innovate something that really didn't need to? Everybody only had these choices. They were going to pick brands or whatever. And you guys decided to change the game and say, hey, look, no, there's still a better way to do this. And we're going to show you how. And then you were massively successful with it. And you stood behind your promises, and it truly is game changing. With the ozone, I'm sure, again, why someone hasn't come out with this sooner, I don't know, but I'm very excited that you guys were the ones to do it, because I think now for the first time, there are going to be pool professionals out there, guys like myself, Mama, Zach, we're going to be able to install this product with ease and then be able to have the benefits from it. Like I said, it's just mind blowing, and it looks pretty cool too.
The cumbersome part of ozone has been the installation, and then the other part has been the hydraulics that's required to run the legacy systems, and it's counterproductive to variable speed pumps. It was 1A, 1B. There's a number of highlights that we'll go through on this thing that make it so effective, and effective with variable speed pumps, because that's where we are now, right? You have to, when you're putting in a 1 horsepower or more, it has to be variable speed on the filtration side. We had to come up with a system that didn't require 10 PSI pressure differential to pull water in, meaning exponentially more flow than what we want to run our variable speed pumps at. And we addressed that issue. We are way low on flow and still being able to put ozone into the system. And when we were going to do this, those were the things that we absolutely wanted to tackle, and we did it. And just like the filter, once we sent the filter off and got it back, we knew we had a good product. We didn't know how good it was. This is exactly the same. Steve and I were on an install a week ago and watching this thing go in, and we were turning the pump way down, and we're like, wow, still producing ozone. Like, it's pretty amazing. Our engineers, and with Steve, the development of this thing, it's an incredible unit, and it's patented. From elbow to elbow.
One thing I think we've been remiss is, for those podcast addicts like me, they don't know, we haven't described this. So picture a basketball with 2.5-inch unions on either side, only it looks a lot more sexy than a basketball, but it's literally that size. You have 14 inches of straight pipe. Cut it. It comes with a blank for winterizing, pressure testing, and all of that. So a section of pipe that goes between the two unions, that's what you glue in, cut the pipe. Then once that's done, you take that blank out, drop this basketball size unit in between it, and plug it in It's a 2-prong. It's low voltage. Because it's low voltage, we don't have to have any of the National Electric Code implications because it's low voltage. So it's literally plug and play. And the first one we did to get out and do video, we're set up, all 2 cameras and all of that, and this guy is so good and so fast. He was done inside of 3 minutes, literally done. And I was like, that doesn't help me for video. And so it's that easy. If you have 14, 18 inches of pipe, cut it, glue it in, and plug it in to 110 that's there on the pad, and you're up and running.
I think you guys are talking about something really important here, and it's the access that you've created with this. And not only for pool pros and the ease of installation, but also for the price point and the customer. And Ozone, it's been a tool in the industry for a while now, but it's been something that we haven't really dabbled in. And it's because, one, the price point to the customer, you just don't get a lot of customers that they're looking at putting that money in a cleaner or a heater or a variable speed pump and, I guess, supplemental products to help with the chemistry and the maintenance of the pool. They don't really care. They pay for pool service, right? That's our job to do that. So it ends up being a bit of a harder sell. And then the installation standpoint, it can get complex. And so we have a lot of things as pros to learn and figure out, and you have to prioritize. And so it's what's first: programming, automation, variable speed, hydraulics, chemistry, all of those. And so with it being not as accessible from both sides, you tend to just not even go that way. So now this is exciting because this is something that I think, and especially having employees and people out there that have all different levels of skill set, I think having a product like this on the pool would create like more forgiveness for the guys out there in the field, right? And when you're trying to do chemistry the right way, personally, I feel like it's much harder to walk that line, right? Because you're doing it at the line, where there's a lot of companies out there that maybe they just run the pool super hot and they never have problems and the pool's always clear. And I was like, yeah, but that's technically not the right way to do that. So when we have employees in the field, like this is something that, you know what, if we get a rainstorm 3 days after we're out there that pushes one of the levels just out of that range, and normally we have a flare up of algae or cloudiness or a problem, I feel like something like this will make their job and the management of the pool easier. And then just, I think the cost savings in the long run, because we have something that's out there attacking things and helping keep that water clear. And so we can use less products to balance the pool. But when you start growing your business and you start adding volume to it, like small changes have the biggest impact. So yeah, maybe per pool, when we look at it on a cost basis, maybe it doesn't look that good. But when you multiply that by 100, 200, 300, 400, whatever, that's a big difference. And that all counts. So to me, it's super exciting because now as a company, this is something we can easily install. And this is something that we can easily sell. So I think that's huge.
And the other side of that is you're giving the homeowner a better product.
Yeah.
Right? They're getting a better swimming experience, a better bather experience for sure.
No chloramines.
Look, I look at it like this. I've said this many times. When it comes down to especially chemistry, you can choose to find the problem and get rid of the problem or stop the problem, or you can throw Band-Aids at a pool and just do temporary solutions. Everything has their place. I look at ozone. It's a solution, not a Band-Aid, to certain pools, to every pool. And especially us with Airbnbs, and we have high bather load, right? There's only so much you can do in order to keep that pool clean and clear. And it's a constant battle with adding chemicals and chemicals and chemicals to combat those things, because we can't limit the people that are swimming or how many are swimming or whatever they're doing. But having something like ozone in there as a solution that helps minimize or reduce or eliminate all that extra garbage that goes into a pool, so that you as a service professional don't have to constantly bombard it with these chemicals in order to keep that pool clean and clear. And yeah, Todd, you're 100% right. You're offering that customer, that client, a much better swimming experience or bathing experience when they're in the pool, because now you don't have to fight all that crap that we have to add into it constantly. Not that we don't need to, we still do. There's things, but we don't have to use as much because now we have something there working for us and helping us aside from just chlorine. That's the power of ozone, and utilizing it and using it correctly or having the right system for your pool makes a world of a difference. in the ability to maintain that pool. You walk away sometimes thinking you're just a superstar sometimes, because that pool is always just beautiful because you have it dialed in and working right, especially with ozone and UV or both.
Here's a couple of things that I want to talk about really quick. And so one of them is you bring a product into the market, and we know how powerful ozone is. But let's talk about the regular Pool Pro. So you have the beginner Pool Pro, maybe an intermediate Pool Pro. You go to put in one of these legacy systems. It's not easy. And to a lot of the Pool Pros, they're not at that point where they can go in and install these legacy systems. And then let's be honest, you take a look at them and shoot, you don't know if they're working half of the time or not. And so that's a huge thing. But there's a massive benefit to ozone. And you've taken that from the commercial, which is very expensive, to the legacy, which is very complicated. And what I love about this is how simple you made this thing. So first of all, you've given now access to every Pool Pro. It doesn't matter if it's at the basic entry-level Pool Pro. They can install one of these things. And now it gives them a tool that we haven't had access to in the industry forever. Number two, I'm going to go to it, and I know a lot of people are going to make fun of it, but I look at this and I go, how much is a bucket of tabs? How much is a gallon of chlorine? The cost that we've seen increase in the last couple of years on all these chemicals. Now you have this one product that you cut two pipes, you plug into the wall, okay? There's no complicated wiring. It's just you just plug it in. How much savings is that going to bring? Because now what you're doing is you have chlorine as an army in there fighting all the bacteria, but all of a sudden you're bringing all these special troops into that water to be able to go and help that chlorine. You put the unit, it doesn't cost you any more for the unit. So I want every Pool Pro to think about it. Let's talk about numbers. Know your numbers. Think about the massive savings that you're now going to have as a Pool Pro. It's just that simple. And then three, I'm going to come back to it again. I always look at things, and I'm always talking to manufacturers, and I'm always talking to people. You have to simplify the way that these things can be installed, and you have to simplify the way that they are installed and used by the Pool Pro if you want to be able to sell them. And they all come out and they all want to sell all these great products, but they overcomplicate the hell out of them. And you guys have come back and you've done the same damn thing, which is you listen to the Pool Pro, you look at it, and how can we solve this problem? And I tell you, everybody, go look at this thing. It's literally, you cut two pipes, put the unions, you plug it in, you're done. You're done. You don't need to add any other products to it. You don't need to add anything else. The savings start automatically. You're killing all the bacteria. You're giving the customers better water. It's a no-brainer.
It's like putting in a salt cell without having to mount the box and wire.
Right?
It's the future.
Yeah.
And look, bottom line, let's just put it like this, guys and gals. This is the future of pool.
It is.
This is the future. You can believe it. You can deny it, whatever. But as the years go on, this is what will become the norm. This is the future of pool care. And being able to jump ahead of the curve now and start installing these and putting them in, you will see nothing but benefit for yourself financially, physically, because you won't have to work as hard because you're able to have something helping you or having the ozone in the water. And then most importantly, you're able to keep your clients happy. And like Edgar was saying, you're saving money on chems. We get that. That's a beautiful thing, especially with what's been happening over the last few years. But more importantly, just the customer experience and then being able to provide just a beautiful, clean, clear, safe swimming pool for your client. How do you put a dollar amount on that when they turn around and they recommend you, or when it comes time to your premium raises, yearly, annual raises, or whatever you may be charging, or the Nextdoor app or Yelp review or Google review, just because they've never had a pool look so beautiful before, or because you take care of it so well. It's hard to really make that tangible, but in reality, in the long term, this is where you differentiate yourself from the competition by embracing this technology, right? And putting yourself up in front of others and saying, hey, look, at our company, this is what we believe in and this is what we want to do. And more importantly, with what AquaStar has done is they've made it very affordable compared to what it's been before in the past. The next question I want to get into, and I know this sounds like an infomercial here, and we do this very rarely, and we've done it for really two products where we sit here and we talk about how much we love something like tremendously. And we talked about the pipeline filter, and we were years ago, and we said how great it was and we loved it and that it was going to be a game changer. Guys and gals, this ozone is the same exact thing. It will be a game changer. Use it for your benefit. Trust me, it will work. You will love it. But once we install it, how easy it is to put it in takes 3 minutes if somebody knows how to plumb, right? Do what you need to do. The biggest question we get when people talk to me about, hey, what's this box on the wall with this tube that's going into this little check valve thing on the return line? And they try to figure out, oh, that's your ozone system. Okay, there's a light under there. It's green. Is it working? Or I don't know if it's working. How do I know it's creating ozone? So the biggest thing is, okay, we're putting in this X amount of dollars. I got this mythical, magical ozone system that's here that's supposed to work, this baseball thing. But how do I know? We don't have a reagent or a way to test it that we know of, that we understand. But I know there are strips or there's ways you can test for it. But how does a pool pro know once he installs it, it's actually working and making ozone?
So 2 ways. One, the unit itself is, once you plug it in, it's electronic control. It has a very cool blue star on top that will, when it's plugged in, it's lighting up, you got power, number one. Now, once the flow starts and it meets the minimum, which is right in the neighborhood of 20 gallons a minute, which is literally the low speed on
Say that again. 20 gallons?
20 gallons.
20 gallons.
It will, and the others need 60 or whatever. Again, variable speed, we want to be able to run them slow. That's what the pipeline filter is, low, high. This is a part and parcel of what we're trying to do, is make perfectly clear water as economically and easy to maintain as possible. So the way this works is, once you plug it in and you have a minimum flow of 20, which is turn on the pump, then it will slowly, the star will glow soft, looks like a breathing sort of thing.
Pulsing.
That's pulsing.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so that is what tells you it's making ozone. If it's not making ozone because of the corona discharge, for example, things will not last forever, and sometimes they break. It will blink a code to tell you I'm not making ozone. So it's going to tell you that on the device itself by looking at it. And then the other is, we are using the existing piping system as the contact chamber. So instead of those boxes and things on the wall, which are there for a reason on these legacy ozone systems that are used for splash pads and all of that, they've got to deal crypto. It's code requirement for splash pads and public spas and wading pools, okay? Those have to 100% sterilize the water in one pass. And it's called 3-log reduction, so they're really high potency. And that means you take it, you have to degas it, you have to have a contact chamber, and then you have to destroy the excess, because they have to make so much that we know it's going to protect public health and these splash pads and all that. This is why this is a game changer, is we don't want to go there. We didn't go there. So we're using up to 1 gram an hour. And the significance of that is those systems that'll nuke the water for a splash pad will be 10 to 20 grams an hour. So it's very potent. It's used in wastewater treatment. They use it for sterilizing decks and kitchens. They use it for fruits and vegetables. All of those things, those systems put so much ozone in the water that they have to be handled separately. This approach was completely different. It really came from Greg Garrett, and the builder who's been putting this on every one, the skimmer version, has been putting this on every one of his pools for a decade. And the idea here is, we just want to get all of the benefits that ozone provides, but we want to use it up. Intentionally, we don't make enough. So then now it's using your return line back to your pool, and you're going to see little champagne bubbles. And then depending on the speed, because this will work from, it's designed and engineered to work from 20 gallons a minute all the way up to 180. And it's got an internal bypass that's inside of this basketball. And as the flow rate increases to 20, from 20 to 30, it starts to bypass water all the way out to 180 gallons a minute. In the center of this is a Maisie injector. That was a game changer for Venturi injectors back in the 90s. So they did that. Angelo Maisie did an amazing job. I was privileged to meet him. And nobody's been able to improve on his geometry, so we didn't try. We duplicate that. We got some extra features that we'll talk about, cleaning and things like that. But the main thing for ease of use and compatibility with variable speed pumps is that it auto adjusts from 20 to 180 gallons a minute. That means put it in and you don't have to change anything you're doing. So if you're programming high speed, spa jets, whatever, it just auto adjusts, and it always puts the same amount of ozone and the same amount of champagne bubbles into the water, regardless of speed, because it's bypassing what is not needed. Now, one of the things right up front, there's some people freak out, oh, if I got bubbles in the pool, I got a suction leak, right? This one you can verify with the blank before you get started. Make sure your system is not putting bubbles into your water. Make sure there's no leaks and all of that. Then once you install it, it's almost always going to be the closest return. So the air bubbles are going to come out at the first return fitting or whatever. The one thing, just as a heads up to you pros, is on high speeds, it's going to make a lot of champagne bubbles because the bubbles are in the water stream, so it stays together and shoots out in the middle of the pool. When you're running down at 29 gallons a minute, like this pool we were at on Monday, it'll do champagne bubbles for a while, and then they'll pause, and then a big glob will come out, the thing, as the water, because any ups and downs in the pipe. So this is what is going to be new to the old school pool pros, is we don't want this problem in the pool. But this is by design, and obviously you as a pool pro will be doing it. But do understand that there's no ozone in that air. And the byproduct of ozone, once it breaks down, it goes back to oxygen. Ozone's byproduct is the oxygen we're already breathing. So there's no issue there. Perception can be, but you got to manage that on the upfront. And then some have questioned, okay, does this air take up turnover rate and all of that? If you let air into the suction side of the pump, it's going to radically cripple your flow rate because your pump's cavitate. This is on the return side. So the pump continues to move just as the same amount of water, and now it's just got the champagne bubbles in it. So the hydraulics are in the bypass and the venturi, and that's where we redesigned it. So this one will work down at 20 gallons a minute versus the others need at least 40 to 60. So that allows us to do the exact same thing with much lower flow rate. So those are the big things that we'll be able to see. That's a positive. And if you don't know what you're looking at, I guess it could be perceived as a negative.
Yeah, but the beauty of it, John, Zach, you're in the backyard. One of the last things that you do is you never go to the equipment right away when you get there. So me as a pool guy, first thing I'm going to do is net, and I'm going to walk around, and I want to make sure I see those little bubbles coming out, because I see those little bubbles coming out. I'm like, okay, we're good. I know that my ozone is working. And I know that there's the mindset of, yeah, if there's bubbles, there's an issue. But come on, as a pool pro, you know what pool, if you're having bubbles, you're having issues versus an ozone system, which any ozone system that you use is going to put out those bubbles. But as a pool pro, I'd be netting, and the first thing I'd be doing is going around looking and making sure, okay, is my ozone working? There it is. I'm good, right?
But make no mistake, that's not the only functionality of understanding whether this is working or not. We're calling it out on the actual unit, which no one else does. Like, we have error codes in our Light Up Star that will tell you I'm on, or I'm on and I'm making ozone. And then also we have error codes in there whether one of the valves went bad, whether we're not producing ozone. We have a number of different error codes in that light. Will tell you that, and will reassure you that we are producing ozone and putting it into the water.
And that's absolutely amazing. I remember going with Justin, and he put a UV system, and the customer had an ozone, and it was like, I don't even know if this thing is making ozone or not. And the customer was like, put a new one, because he was a doctor. He's worried about sanitation and all that kind of stuff. And it was like, I remember just going through and just going, well, you don't know. There's the cabinet. It was an older system. There was just no way to tell.
I want to ask, because when we talk about things like salt systems or liquid feeders or electronic liquid feeders or whatever, like, there's maintenance aspects to it. You got to clean the salt cellar, you got to clean the sensors or whatever. Is there a maintenance aspect to this that we need to be aware of?
Time out. Don't answer that. We're going to leave that on a cliffhanger. We're going to take a word from our sponsors. When we come back, we're going to get Steve to answer that. How'd you like that? How'd you like that?
Pretty good.
Smooth? That was when
I've never seen anybody be able to quiet Steve down so fast.
Oh, shots fired. Let's take a word from our sponsors. I will record Steve beating up Todd. We'll be right back.
The Hyper Pole from Ultimate Pool Tools is a pool care pole designed by pool professionals for pool professionals, featuring precision-crafted carbon fiber and stainless steel construction. Go to ultimatepooltools.com or Instagram at Ultimate Pool Tools. Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. Now available, Pool Invoice. Pool Invoice is a pool billing software created specifically for the pool service and repair industry. It's developed for our industry and only our industry. Pool Invoice is built with reoccurring billing in mind. You can print, email, text invoices, or even send via WhatsApp. You can add reoccurring or yearly charges, accept credits, and set up autopay. You can even see when customers have seen the invoice. It even has a customer portal where they can log in and see, print, and pay invoices. It has all your customers' information on one page, so you don't need to search through hundreds of invoices looking for the one you need. Just go to the customer profile and it's all at your fingertips. Created specifically for the pool industry, Pool Invoice. Now available at poolinvoice.com. Blueray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blueray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blueray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BlueRayXL.com.
Blueray all day.
AquaStar's new pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed, open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable. And these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with the pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double-locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleaners faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for pipeline filters today.
Natural Chemistry, a leader in specialty water care solutions for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high-range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos-Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new Avia HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on Avia's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pool Nation Live podcast with myself, your host, Edgar, Mr. JJ Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, Zach, the pool boy Nicholas, and the Cannonball King, Spider. What's going on, Spider, back there? You okay? You like that name?
Yeah, I'm terrible at cannonballs, but I'll take it. I'm more of a can opener guy.
You're a can opener guy? So Zach asked a question. Before you get into answer that, I want to jump back over here into our chat system because I do have a couple of people talking about it. Obviously, that this is very interesting. And the one question that they asked is, what is the byproduct? High pH? Is that the case, Steve?
No, the byproduct is oxygen. So there is no byproduct. That's why Greg Garrett, and that's why it's used in so many places, because when you have chlorine, there's all kinds of byproducts as it reacts with other chemicals. And the beauty of ozone and why we use it in drinking water and all of that is there is no byproduct. It's pH neutral. And so that's part of the beauty of this thing.
So we can no longer say that there's nothing that we add to the pool that doesn't have a byproduct, because ozone doesn't have a byproduct. Yeah. So it's the only one thing that doesn't have a byproduct. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's why it's used for this, and we drink it, bottled water.
That's awesome. Let's see here. So I have Janie going, this is awesome, super easy to install. I do have somebody asking Zach, hey, what's the best hotel in your area? Because they're going down to the boot camp and they're coming from California, baby.
I know.
So,
I was trying to think. I'm like, I don't know. Are there any nice hotels in our area?
yeah, it depends, Michael. What kind of nice? Are you looking for Four Seasons? Are you looking for Marriott? I'm a Hilton guy. So let us know here in the chat. We'll answer. Oh, you answered that, actually, as I'm going through. There's a resort, so they'll check it out. So Michael's going down. Super excited to see you down there, Michael, at the boot camp. And I'm sure Steve and Todd are super excited to meet you too. He's going to be a superstar in the industry. Michael, you watch. I'm telling you, he's a great guy. All right. So the question was, Zach, can you repeat it?
Yeah. So with a lot of the products that we have at our disposal, there's whatever salt or automated chemical feeders or things like that. There's typically a maintenance aspect to it where you've got to clean it every so often or clean sensors or whatever. Is there some sort of maintenance that we need to be aware of with this unit?
You don't need to be aware of it, but it's happening automatically. Okay, so ozone instantly reacts with all kinds of things in what's we call the Venturi injector. And a Venturi is the same thing that makes your spa jets work. So fast-moving water draws in air. In this case, we're drawing in the ozone. When that ozone makes contact right there, it makes these super tiny, smaller than champagne bubbles. And that's how we transfer the ozone into the water. It's called mass transfer. But at the same time, calcium and stuff, it reacts with that right there at that little injection point, and it will plug up. That is a fact of physics that comes with any ozone injection system. So then they have to be taken apart, and that little orifice where the ozone air goes in has to be cleaned out once a quarter or something like that. It's just built in. If you've done commercial ozone systems, you're familiar with this maintenance process. Part of making this plug and play is this system will auto-clean, patented system, will auto-clean that orifice every time the pump turns off and on. And so it's absolutely built in, because when we looked at it, part of the reason it was third in line behind these other amazing products is we felt we had to deal with that. Otherwise, it would just not what we do at AquaStar. So that was one of the game-changing things that our engineering team came up with. Another pain point and maintenance point on ozone systems is the check valves. Okay, because even if it's just drawing in outside air, there's debris and all of that. So that's can be a leak pain point. So in this, the engineer said, you know what, just scrap that. So we use a solenoid valve. So it's part of the brains of this is we use a positive, just like your autofill or your electronic for your sprinkler system valves. Those are solenoid actuated, and it holds back city water pressure. And it turns out we're doing the exact same technology in here, way more high tech, because it's got to be able to handle ozone and all that. But it's all in this box or in this ball kind of a thing. So the two major things that have to be maintained, we've taken out of the equation of this.
You were mentioning that it gets rid of combined chlorine. So because you're making ozone, obviously the strength of it, there's going to be zero combined chlorine all the time?
That depends on bather load. Okay, so what causes one of the major things that causes combined chlorine is sweat and pool party with a bunch of people drinking beer and never getting out, or kids that are in the pool all day long. Okay, so those are nitrogen-based byproducts, and that's what combines with chlorine to create chloramines. So what the ozone does instantly is destroy those so that the chloramines don't build up. When you first install this on a pool, if it's one of these stinky ones, then I can't tell you how long it's going to take for all of that to cycle out. It might be, I know on the filtration side, when we do a variable speed pump and it slows down, that turnover time to really clean up the water, because slower moving water through filters, we've learned this over the decades, that takes about 10 days. So I can't imagine it would be any longer than that. But once it's there, it will prevent them from happening. I can't tell you how quick. And then if there's a giant pool party with lots of guests, an Airbnb or whatever, it may get behind on it, and then it's going to recover. That's a little bit of an unknown, and every pool is a little bit of a snowflake and all of that. But again, go to the EPA, look at drinking water, wastewater to see all of the detail on what ozone does, and that there's a thing called concentration time. That's just like with your chlorine. If for a crypto outbreak, they have to superchlorinate for 20 parts per million for 14 hours or something like that. If you do it for 10 hours and it takes 32, same concept. Those are all chemistry kinds of related things. So the ozone is going to react instantly with what it interacts with, but it comes down to bather load.
The beautiful part about this is, and why we address the hydraulics like we did, ozone's all about contact. We need the pump running. We need the pump running to get ozone into the system and to treat water. And with this unit, when you can run down at 20 gallons and you got your Airbnbs and they're getting rented out over the summer or whenever, run your pool. And you can run your pool at low RPMs, basically what it would take to run a 100-watt light bulb, and run it all day long. Get this into the system, get that contact time. And that's where we completely outkick our competition when we're down to 20 gallons a minute, where we can run that pool very efficiently and we can still get ozone into the system.
So on Monday, we did an install pump pad install upgrade. So a couple of pipeline pumps, pipeline filter, and the PureStar. And in setting up variable speed, this is what we're going to talk about at the boot camp. We want to filter this body of water as economically as possible, but we don't want headaches for certainly the pool pros or the pool owner. So what we did is we adjusted the flow. It had a spa overflow, so we tweaked it in, the company that installed this for us, and we dialed it in so the skimmer weir was working well. Okay, because there's a lot of trees around this pool, so that we had a flow that he could in confidence, because it's not going to be back for a week kind of a thing. That's working. And then there was enough of a spa overflow for that to be working. The returns were moving. We could visually see that by adjusting the speed of this pump, just intuitively. Then I do my geeky thing, went back with the TDH gauges and all that, and I measured it, and that was 33 gallons a minute, 140 watts.
Something is starting.
Game changer.
My brain is starting to. I'm going to talk about it in a minute. So you guys are doing something game changing. I think my brain is starting to put it all together. I got to see if I could guess it.
One thing I would like to say, talking about these legacy systems and all of that, because I know there's pool pros that have been dealing, they're looking at us like we've lost our mind. Okay, speaking for myself, maybe. But really it goes back to, because Greg Garrett followed me around trade show halls. He would tag him, tag me. He was so aggressive at one point. I'd see him in the hallway and I'd go the other way. And then he saw that happen once. I did do that twice. But because knowing, I work with NSF 50, I know Beth Hamill, and not to name drop, but she knows this stuff. And that's where they're doing this really high potency to protect public health, life and death stuff. So those units that go on the wall and are more complicated and way more expensive, they're doing a job. Don't use this for that. This is low dose. So their thing is they are looking for making sure, never risking public safety. So that's why they're expensive and powerful and all of this. We are not trying to do that. That's not what Greg Garrett wanted. That's not what he needed. We needed to supplement what was going on in these pools with all the benefits. And so that's a little bit, the game changer was, okay, can we do this within EPA, CDC guidelines, OSHA on the ozone, because we're not degassing. And so it is designed from the ground zero to be low dose inside of those. That's the game changer, so that we can use it, cut it in, plug it in, and just know it's going to work safely. And that's important to know. The game changer is, this is really a new category compared to what we see for public pools. And those need to, I'm not knocking them, because those are important and very important to our industry. This is just not that. One other pain point that, speaking to those pool pros, is there's no dryer on this. There's no oxygen bottles or an oxygen concentrator. To do that on the front end of those high-end units can be $3,000-$4,000, okay, over and above. That's why they can get up to $10,000. That would be another game changer, right? For a deal breaker would be a better phrase. So one of the things, the reality is, when you're using Corona discharge in a high humidity environment, that lightning bolt reacts with moisture in the water and the ozone that's being created, and it creates what's called nitric acid, and it's got a lot of pH, like 1.5 or 2. It's super high concentration. in the way it's made in very low doses. So if you picture a water ice glass, not even in the summer, in the springtime, where it starts to beat up and sweat, okay, that's how this acid is created in any corona discharge if it's not pure oxygen or dried air. Obviously, that's a deal breaker for us. So what our engineering team, we know this because we've been dealing with it with the skimmer version. So we're fully aware of this. We're not naive. What we did is we know it's going to be made, certainly when you use this in Houston and Florida and all of that. The high humidity is going to decrease the concentration of ozone that's made because some of it's competing with this nitric acid. But what happens is it's built into the system to feed that back into the Venturi. So one of the things that will help is keeping that system clean because of the acid, but you do not want to have to deal with it if it's in an ozone unit on the wall. They have to stop it or it'll corrode out and the bottoms fall out of it. But what we're doing is within about 5 or 6 inches inside this basketball is feeding it right back into the pool. And it's just, it's very low
It's
dose.
a notorious problem with the legacy systems for sure. That will sit in there and it will corrode and it will destroy your system. And our engineers figured out a way to get it back into the water stream, which is huge.
And by the way, we're talking about NHO3, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
how'd you like that?
Did you see this, John?
Damn, did you see that drop?
Dude, he's
Drop
been
the mic.
rehearsing that all night.
Look at John's face.
John,
No,
John
no.
is
The
shocked.
truth was, he's calling me up and he's asking me. He didn't tell you this, but he's all, is it NH03 or is it NH03?
I'm like, John, what's the code? What's the
is it 03 or 03? I want to make sure I say it right.
I asked him, what was the parts per million? John's, what? Parts per million? What? And I'm like, the code.
Yeah. The code. Give me the code.
Give me the code.
So, guys, there was a lot. You explained that perfectly, Steve. And Todd, you jumped onto a point that I wanted to talk about, and you nailed it as well, because I was leading to that whole, the pump needs to be running. The one thing, if you were to say anything about ozone, is that it doesn't work unless the pump is running. And usually the problem is if customers are concerned or people are conscious about how much money they're spending. And if you have to pump 60 gallons, 70 gallons a minute of water, your pump is not running at 800 RPMs or 1,000 RPMs. You have to literally get that thing pushing. And you're probably consuming anywhere from, 1,000 to 1,800 watts, just depending on a whole bunch of different things. Sometimes you might be pulling 2,300 watts in order to get that. But the beautiful thing, and you guys tackle that, is saying, hey, look, because you reduced the requirement of flow, now we're able to run these pools all the time. And you can actually, in a perfect world, we'd all love our pools to be running 24 hours a day. And if we can offer a solution to our customers and say, hey, look, yes, it's an investment now, especially a home that you own, but it's an investment now, but this will literally pay for itself if you line up the right products and you're hydraulically sound and you have the right equipment and you put something like the pipeline filter, you put an AquaStar pump in there and you do the ozone. Now you're able to have a system that is hydraulically sound and you're able to bring it down. I can't believe 140 watts. It's just mind blowing, right? 33 gallons per minute at 140 watts. And that is literally mind blowing. And if you think about it, if you can somehow figure that out or be able to reproduce that at every friggin' pad, or even somewhere remotely close to that, like 400 watts, then the savings that you're able to give your clients and just literally do the math, figure it out, find out what the kilowatts, what they charge. I know in our area, Southern California, Edison, we're like at 36, 37, 38 cents. My area where I'm at under ID, we're at like 17 cents. We're cheaper, but just do the math and figure out what the difference is, figure out what the dollar amount is, whether it's 25 cents, 50 cents, $1, $2, $3 a day that you're able to save them. If they, let's say they put a $10,000 investment in to get everything done, or an $8,000, just depending on whatever it may be. But if you can tell them, hey, I'm saving you $4 a day or $3 a day in electricity costs, and we're able to run your pool literally 24 hours a day or 18 hours a day, or however it may be, in 5 years and 10 years or whatever, it's more than paid for itself and started paying you back. It's just mind-blowing that these numbers can be accomplished, and especially with having an ozone system, because one of the downfalls with ozone has always been the flow rates. And nobody wants to run their pumps at full speed. And having clients trying to convey, hey, we'll get you the system, but now we're going to have to run this pump at this speed. It just doesn't really make sense to them.
And we won't jump into the hydraulics too deep on this pool. We're not going to go there because Steve will really start to geek out. But understand,
2 minutes. Give me 2 minutes.
The numbers he gave you were a very inefficient plumbed pool. It was a very inefficient plum pool, and we still pulled off the 140 at 33, 32 gallons, which is incredible.
Yeah, I'm going to
Stuff here we're talking about here.
Yeah, so this was a pipeline pad. Let's talk about adding it to an existing pool. Give you some more numbers. Running this pool at a higher speed, that was 1320 RPM, 140. Okay, I know numbers are hard on audio, but so at 1800 RPM on this pool, that's 46 gallons a minute measured, but that's only 326 watts. So, John, what you were saying about being the 400, that's at 1800 watts. If you go up to 2100 RPM, it's 466 watts, and that's flow rate of 50 gallons a minute. So I think a realistic expectation for these existing pools when you install this is that you're going to want to be running at your 40 or 50 gallons a minute. So you're probably, realistically on these pools, they're going to be up in the 400 or 500 watt range as compared to that single speed pump that was running up at 1800 to 2300 watts. Even on the old legacy systems that they're waiting for the pipeline upgrade to happen, there's money to be saved in the benefits of this ozone.
Michael's over here. First response, John, out here is going, I'm pool geeking out all over this out here today. And then he said, the hardest part of selling a salt system, the fact that we can efficiently run the system low and slow and get results is awesome. And it's going to be a major selling point.
Massive selling point.
It is. And what I'm saying is this is next level stuff, guys and gals. It might seem a little complicated at first or when we start talking, throwing all these numbers out. But if you really just sit down and think about it, it'll come to you. And the ability to understand this and then most importantly, convey it to your customers and implement it will definitely change the way you do business and the perception of your company out in your area or wherever you're at. It'll give you a level of confidence. And it's hard to really attach a dollar amount to because being able to offer solutions that not everybody is quite or well equipped enough to do it yet sets you apart from everybody else. And this is what we're trying to get at here. And this is the future. This isn't snake oil. This isn't something that might work or it might be the effect, might be what they're going to be using. And this is definitely the future of pool maintenance. And the sooner we can jump on board and we do it, the better for everybody. On to our next question. As far as somebody's going to a pad and they want to install the ozone system, is there anything that they need to be aware of that the ozone system might not be compatible with? Let's say, for instance, like a salt cell, like Michael was talking about. He has a pad that has a salt system and it's already plumbed in and it's running and it's working and they want to add ozone to it. Can you add ozone to it, to a salt system? And if you do add ozone, where shall you plumb the ozone system? Before, after, above, beyond? Where do you want to put that? Where do you want to put the system?
That's a great question. One, is they're absolutely compatible with each other. Ozone is compatible with enzymes. It's compatible with borates. All of those things, they work together. This is a nice add-on. Where it needs to go is last. You do not want to send the ozone bubbles in the air through a salt chlorine. You want the chlorinator first. Ozone is such a powerful oxidizer. Everything in this unit has to be able to handle that. And chlorine doesn't affect anything in this unit at all. And it's got a built-in bypass and all of that. Chlorinator, then ozonator.
To follow up on that, if we were talking in terms of an inline tab feeder, same thing apply?
Yeah, you don't want to, because we're going to have oxygen and low concentration of ozone bubbles. Those will collect in it, and you want the ozone last before the pool or spa.
I ask because a lot of times I see it where the tab feeder is actually plumbed on the pool return line downstream, if that makes sense. So that's something to be aware of.
The downside of it, and I know John's going to have to revamp all of his inline chlorinators for this. But
Yeah.
The complication there is, I think, because those stand up and it's a water column, is it's going to collect air in it, and then it's something we will look at, but you don't...
It's last. You put the inline chlorinator before it.
Yeah, it's good to know.
Yeah.
But the downside, it's not going to hurt the chlorinator. It just could hurt its functionality.
You guys mentioned this, but it's low voltage and there's no grounding wire. Can you talk about that and why that's important?
The biggest thing is we wanted this to be plug and play. And as soon as you go to even 110 system, not where it's the corona discharge or UV bulb in a box kind of stuff, those all are relative to the National Electric Code high voltage, anything above 15 volts. And doing this research, again, because Greg Garrett says we need this. So our engineering team look and it's like, okay, how can we eliminate that pain point? We've talked about a bunch of them. So we looked at corona discharge. It's lightning in a bottle in a little tube. So it's a little bit like a taser, right? That's battery operated, but it goes to these massive electrical volts. That taser is corona discharge that makes ozone. And so it's like, those are 9 volt. We can do this in less than 15. I don't know what the actual number is. So by doing that, it's low voltage. That's in a separate category of the National Electric Code that there's no regulation. What matters is the transformer. The transformer is not even grounded, and it's designed for outdoor use. So it's just the 2 plugs, like your Christmas lights or whatever. And so it's low voltage. Anyone can install this.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Does the unit come with unions when you install it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the unions that you get with this are actually the exact same unions that you get with our pipeline pump. So you will get 2-inch unions with it, and you also get 2.5-inch unions with it. And we actually have the unit sitting right here for those watching. This is the 2.5-inch unit the unions that we have on here at this point. And again, 2 unions, 14 inches, cut out, plumb in. And then the cord that Steve was just talking about is just a 110 outlet cord with a transformer on it, and you plug it right into a 110 outlet, and you're off and running.
Zip tie the wire around the pipe.
And I would assume that if the wire's too short, they can run an extension cord, or how does that work?
Absolutely.
As far as okay.
Yep, no problem.
Yeah, it's long, but
yeah, that's pretty cool. I keep thinking about the newer pool pros out there trying to be able to upsell and install more products, like how easy it is.
One more question real quick on what comes in the box. Sorry, Steve. And does it come with a graph or a template or a cutout?
Yeah, we send it with a blank. It's basically our winterizing blank or our startup blank. And it is obviously the same size as the unit. So what we recommend is once you do retrofit this and you're cutting out your PVC, obviously we're going to have some PVC shavings in the line. Put the blank in, run your system for a little bit and flush all that out. And then put the ozone back in, because again, that Maisie injector is a small port that we're pulling ozone through, and we don't want to clog that up with any debris. And then it also is a startup blank as well. So let's run the pool, let's start it up, let's get all that plaster dust out of the pool, and then put the unit in, and you're off and running. And then obviously those areas where it gets cold and we got to winterize, we put that blank in and take this unit out and stick it in the garage for the winter.
Yeah, so that's what you're going to want to use to actually do the plumbing, okay, because there's glue. It's a messy environment, right? So you keep that pretty in the box. You do all of the mechanical plumbing with that, with the unions. And one thing I wanted to add, John, is it's 2 or 2.5-inch unions, but there's absolutely no problem taking the 2-inch and reducing down to 1.5 inches. This unit will not care. Obviously, your flow rates are going to be lower and your pump speeds are going to be a lot higher, whatever the case may be. But there's no problem with that. Do not install it on an old copper piping, though. Ozone's too powerful for the copper, so don't use it on copper pipe.
So wild. I have never seen copper piping before.
All over California.
So copper anywhere. So copper return lines.
Downstream.
We're talking about copper anywhere in the pool downstream.
Downstream. Yeah, just from the unit to the pool. Doesn't matter. The copper heat exchangers, none of that will have any effect, because this is all going to go out to the pool, and the ozone in the water and in any of the bubbles, that's all gone before it gets to the pool. It contacts and it reacts literally instantly. That's why the big units can have the contact chamber degas like there. Really, the major work of ozone's happening at that injector. That's why we got to clean it automatically.
So we were talking about like access, right? Creating access for pricing, more cost-effective, things like that. So what is the price point of this? And also, additionally, there's a promo going on right now. So you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, there is a promo. The price point over the counter from distribution for this unit for the Pool Professional will be less than $1,000. And again, we were able to pull costs out of this because we don't have the cumbersome big power supply center. We don't have the big bypass. So we wanted to come to the market with an efficient system that was at a great price point that everybody could get to. Our bundle and save program that we have going on right now that you talk about is if you couple this unit with a pipeline pump purchase, you'll get $100 off this unit as well. So the package works is the upfront purchase is the pump. You get $200 off on the pipeline pump right at the counter. And then if you add a pipeline filter to that order, same order, you'll get $100 off that. And if you add a PureStar to that pump order, you'll get $100 off that as well. So if you buy a pump and a PureStar, you get $100 off the PureStar. If you buy a pump filter in the PureStar, you're going to get a bundle of $400 savings right at the counter.
I like the sound of that. Save money. Bottom line. Know your numbers. Hey, guys, let's do this. Let's take our final word from our sponsors when we come back. Zach, John, I want to get your final thoughts.
The Hyper Pole from Ultimate Pool Tools is a pool care pole designed by pool professionals for pool professionals, featuring precision-crafted carbon fiber and stainless steel construction. Go to ultimatepooltools.com or Instagram at Ultimate Pool Tools. Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. Now available, Pool Invoice. Pool Invoice is a pool billing software created specifically for the pool service and repair industry. It's developed for our industry and only our industry. Pool Invoice is built with recurring billing in mind. You can print, email, text invoices, or even send via WhatsApp. You can add reoccurring or yearly charges, accept credits, and set up autopay. You can even see when customers have seen the invoice. It even has a customer portal where they can log in and see, print, and pay invoices. It has all your customers' information on one page, so you don't need to search through hundreds of invoices looking for the one you need. Just go to the customer profile and it's all at your fingertips. Created specifically for the pool industry, Pool Invoice. Now available at poolinvoice.com. Blueray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blueray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blueray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BlueRayXL.com.
Blueray all day.
AquaStar's new pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed, open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable. And these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with the pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double-locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleaners faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for pipeline filters today.
Natural Chemistry, a leader in specialty water care solutions for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high-range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new Avia HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on Avia's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pool Nation Live podcast with myself, your host, Edgar DeJesus. Mr. JJ Flawless, the fastest netter in the West. Zach, the famous pool boy out here. I got to get the down. I just can't whistle. I've never learned to whistle. So
I'm not going to talk until you whistle.
Yeah, nope, there you go. And today we have the Cannonball King himself, Spider. You still okay back there, Spider?
In the building.
In the building, yeah.
You need a splash sound.
Yeah, we need to get...
I'll look for something. All I got right now is the gong.
Hey, yeah, that's a good one. So every time we say that for Spider, he does the splash for his,
Oh, I was worried that you're going to use it on me. The gong show.
We are talking to Todd Pieri, Steve Barnes, and we do have a special guest in-house that's sitting on the pretty sofa over on the corner. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him, Todd. He's looking like...
Look at that. He's so relaxed.
So
Don't describe it. I already have a mental image.
It's not good. It's not good.
Don't
bro.
ruin it.
It's
Don't
not
ruin
good.
it.
It's not good. Bro.
Don't ruin it.
You know what? You know what? While we're on the air, John, here's what I'm going to do. Everybody can watch it with my phone. Come on, let's hit that pose so we can send it to John. Come on, get in your pose. There we go. And there you go, John. It is on your way right now. So look at your phone.
Let me see if I'm right.
So, anyways, while John looks at that
Is he awake? Brian's sleeping. We poured him. Yeah. I was picturing more of like laying down completely with like his elbow or arm like this or however it is.
Now he's like that. Now he's like that. Wait, here you go.
Yeah, the first one was his glamour pose.
Here you go. Ready? Let me zoom in for you. Let me zoom in for you, John. There you go. And there you go. It's sent off your way. So
Images I will never get rid of.
So that just scarred a whole bunch of people here for life. So anyways, Mr. Zacharias, let me get your final thoughts.
I think this is awesome because, first getting to know you guys, I really enjoy hanging out with you. And over time, like just my experience with the pipeline filter. It's one thing to see a new product, see a game changer, talk about it. But then, Justin's installed probably 50 or more at this point, and he is absolutely addicted to them. And it was funny, I told you the story, but he was really resistant to it at first. And then it was like after he got that first one in, then it was like, oh yeah. Here we are again down the road. We're talking about another cool product, game changing. And so I'm excited to put this in his hands, and I'm sure he'll be resistant to it. We always joked when we were younger about the old school pool guy, variable speeds, conspiracy, and all that stuff. And I have to constantly remind him now that he's becoming the old school pool guy. But I'm looking forward to it's silly, but I love the access. I keep saying this, but that is huge for us because now we have something that essentially costs less than doing a salt system for our customer. And Todd, I know we've talked about salt and all that. Us maintenance guys, we love salt. I'm just super excited about that. And then, I just want to remind everyone, like when you start growing, I mentioned it earlier, you start adding pools to your route. It's those small cost savings and knowing your numbers and things like that. You start to put that into an Excel spreadsheet. It may sound like $2 or $3 may sound small right now, but once you start multiplying that, that's huge. So it's going to be really fun to see the pipeline filter really took off. It was exciting to see all of the excitement around it, and I'm excited to see the excitement around this PureStar as it starts to catch fire.
Absolutely. Mr. Flawless, final thoughts.
Ditto to what Zach is saying. It's true. We are creatures of habit as human beings. That's what we usually are. And I think as pool guys and pool girls, we're maybe more stuck in our ways sometimes than we'd like to be. The truth is, I cannot stress this enough. This is exactly what the future of pool service is going to be. And the sooner we embrace it and understand it, the better we're going to be as a company, as an industry, as a whole. And I just want to say thank you again to Todd, Steve, Olaf, everybody out in AquaStar, and now Brian, newly to AquaStar. Just thanks for the hard work, guys. You guys have been the trendsetters, and you've been trailblazing a new path for all of us and making it a lot easier for us to do our jobs and making the swimming pool service or the industry just a much better place to work in. And actually more profitable for us as well, which is very important. We can't forget about that. So I can't wait to see I know you guys have something else cooking, I'm sure. I'm looking forward to the next product. But I think this ozone, we're going to come back to this a year from now I'm sure, just like we did with the filter. And we're going to say, hey, look, this blew up even more than we thought it was ever going to blow up. And we have higher expectations now than we did before, because you broke that ice with the filter. You really did. And that was like a really hard pill to swallow for a lot of technicians and a lot of companies out there. It just was very tough to break that. And you managed to do an amazing job with it, because everything you said about the filter came to be true. And us as providers or service providers, we saw the benefit of having it and the benefit for our customers, and has been a lifesaver for us when it comes time, cost, money, all of the above, and safety. Where this ozone now is just going to take us to the next level. And those of you that decide on embracing it and moving forward with it, you will not be disappointed. And I look forward to seeing everybody start posting the PureStar on Instagram and social media and talking about it and getting questions sent over to me asking about it, like we did with the pipeline filter, and slowly but surely getting them in all our distributions and getting people out there putting them in. Thank you so much again for coming out. And I wish I was out there. You guys all owe me dinner. Harry steak.
Oh, we're all going out to dinner right after the podcast, just to let you know. We're going to get lunch before they go home.
Where are we going?
John, I'm going to take them to the car place over here.
Oh,
I knew that one was going to sting.
So good. No, it's badass. And thank you, Spider, for that, for giving us that recommendation.
Yeah, it is legit. It's amazing out there. We literally have 2 minutes left. Normally, I would say a quick word. Anything else you guys want to say before we head out?
No, we can't thank you guys enough for everything you do for us. And the access thing with this unit that Zach talks about is huge. I think ozone systems, legacy systems, have been elusive in our industry because they've been tough and they've been intimidating. And the access that we've done with this is anybody can put this in. If you can plumb, any pool professional out there. So we're really excited about that.
This is a continuation of who AquaStar is, and that is a focus on the pros. Started out with the plasterers and those and water stops and skimmers. And AquaStar is committed to boots on the ground, and that's why we're looking forward to the boot camp.
Super, super excited about that. I do have to thank you guys for... When we partner with people, we look for people that really believe in our dreams, right? And what me, Zach, and John have are dreams. We want to change the industry. We want to educate the pool pros. We want the brand new pool pros to be financially successful, because if they can, it'll just elevate. But we can't do it all, right? Like, we can't teach all the classes. We can't do all the education. There's so much work that goes into everything that we do. And you guys, since day one, have just been absolutely amazing partners with us. And with the education, I know that you guys are just as passionate as educating the pool pros as we are, and really elevating the pool pros and doing it in a positive way so that we can elevate our industry. So I want to thank you guys for that. I want to verbalize it, because without you guys doing it and doing the boot camp and spending the money and the travel and all that, it wouldn't be possible. And that's our dream, is really to be able to help the pool pros out there. And then you guys are killing it with your products, because you know who you are, the quality of the product that you want to put out there. And then the most important part is you're always thinking about the pool pro out in the pad that's installing it. And I said it before, but you guys are really going to be the game changers in the other industry. And the other ones in the industry are going to have to catch up, and it's going to be tough for them. Thank you guys for everything. Everybody, Zach, John, thank you so much. Mr. Spider, shout out to you, brother. Everybody have a great weekend. Listen to me and John on the next Instagram Live next Wednesday. We got some big stuff to announce, and we'll see you then. Brian, have a great one.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Pool Nation podcast, a member of the Pool Nation family. You can listen to us live every Friday here at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. You can find us at Pool Nation or PoolNationPodcast.com, on Facebook, or on Instagram at pool.nation. And to find more info about Pool Invoice, the billing software built specifically for the pool industry, go to poolinvoice.com. Before you go, this is what the pool industry has been waiting for. PoolmanUniversity.com. It's the first platform dedicated to learning the swimming pool service and repair industry. A pool service community where you can connect and find videos on business, service, water chemistry, and repairs. See you there at PoolmanUniversity.com.